In this video, I'm going to be showing you how we're going to do a Peekaboo Geode effect using aluminum foil. Hello and welcome back to Everything Tumbler Tutorials. My name is Rebecca and I am a tumbler designer. I'm excited to show you guys how we're going to do this tumbler swirl using aluminum foil. And remember, everything used in this tutorial will be listed and linked for you down in the description box below. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to do is have a nice size, decent piece of aluminum foil, and we're going to scrunch it up really, really well. To achieve this effect, you don't have to scrunch it super tight to where when you start pulling this aluminum foil apart that it starts tearing. So just a little bit and then gently, gently pull it apart. As you can see, I went ahead and fast forwarded this section as well as the next clip when we start to apply the Mod Podge. Once we get this spread back out and we're pretty happy with the appearance that we've achieved, now we're going to go ahead and turn it to where we're going to be cutting up the angle on both sides. For this tumbler, we wanted the aluminum foil to appear as a swirl around the tumbler, so we needed a nice long piece. I'm also thinking the next time that I work with aluminum foil, I'm going to try using the Fast Set from Counterculture DIY instead of Mod Podge. Once we have our piece cut, now we're going to apply Mod Podge very, very generously. You'll see that I already cut the angle at the bottom because I went ahead and tested this around the tumbler, so I already know that that's going to be my bottom end. The rest at the top, which was maybe 3 inches extra, I just went ahead and trimmed that off with my scissors once I had it applied to the tumbler. So it's really important to make sure you have a lot of Mod Podge or whatever glue that you'd like to use to adhere this aluminum foil to your tumbler, especially the edges where we want it to stay flat, very, very flat and flush against the tumbler, so we don't have any lifts when it's time to apply the epoxy. It's very important that you allow this to dry for at least 24 hours. I want to say that for this entire duration, that was truly the hardest part because it's very, very important that you've allowed solid dry time for that Mod Podge. I've done aluminum foil tumblers many times in the past, only once actually recently with experimenting with this particular design. If you do not allow the Mod Podge to fully dry, or even an Elmer's glue to fully dry, it's going to seep out. It has to go somewhere. So most importantly, allow the dry time. Once I was confident that it was dry, it was then time to go ahead and spray paint it with this pretty satin lilac from Rust-Oleum. Again, that too needed dry time before moving on. I've chosen a metallic purple Riata, which is a fun color shift from AB Designs, as well as a regular deep purple called Violet. And of course, with this design, you can use whatever colors your heart desires, and it opens up a wide range of variations in which you can do. I personally have not done any geodes on my channel whatsoever with the glitter and markers and such. So I wanted to bring in a little texture in trying this geode effect, giving that true textured geode effect. So I start off going in with the lightest purple, and then I'm going to add in the Riata right over it. I thought bringing in some variations of the paint as well as some glitter would really make this shine. Once I was happy with that, it was time to come in with a deeper color called Violet. I'm going to dab on using makeup brushes just as I did with the first paint, just to kind of help blend in the colors that I've chosen. You'll notice that here I'm just trying to stay on the aluminum foil, but really at the end of the day, we're going to spray paint over this, so you're not going to be able to tell. So if you get on the outskirts of the aluminum foil, it's no problem. Once we've given that a little bit of time to dry, we're going to go in with AB Designs Gold Mica Powder. I chose to go with the gold mica powder instead of the gold foil because one, gold foil is super messy, and not that the mica powder isn't, but it's just so much more doable. So I did get a little heavy-handed in brushing in this gold. I was really loving the way that it was going, but I decided to kind of tone down some of those sections, just simply going back over it again with the mica powder. I'm sorry, with the one of my purples as well as the makeup brush, just to tone that down a little bit. And here's where I'm just going to go in and just kind of tone down certain sections. However, if you like all that gold, then absolutely, again, you can just leave it as it was. But again, I just wanted to tone down certain sections, and then once this was fully dry, it was ready for its first coat of epoxy. At this stage of the game, this tumbler has probably had about 2 full days of dry time from start to this point. Now that I'm pretty confident I can go in with a coat of epoxy, I'm going to be using the Turbo Fast Set from Counterculture DIY. Off camera, I did go ahead and apply another coat of the Turbo Fast Set before moving on to the next step. As always, when you're happy with your coat of epoxy, make sure you use your heat torch to pop any bubbles you may or may not be able to see. And here's what she's looking like so far. Once that second coat fully dried and I gave it more than the hour that's required, I decided to go in with a deep purple instead of black, just to keep the color scheme the same. Here's what she looks like after having been spray painted, and this is where our peekaboo effect comes into play. Now, if at any point in which you've oversprayed too much on this section of which is going to be our aluminum foil textured geo appearance, you can always take in some acetone and just gently try to remove any excess spray paint, just to kind of open up that section and make it much wider than you see mine is. However, I really liked the overall look of it, where it kind of was chunky up at the top, got real thin in the center, and opened back up towards the bottom a little bit. So I left mine as is and did not remove any additional spray paint. Once I allowed this again to fully dry, it was now time to move on to another coat of epoxy. And again, I'm going to be using the Fast Set from Counterculture DIY for this coat. So for me, I didn't add a decal. I wanted to leave this tumbler as is and my Peekaboo Geode as its focal point. However, once this epoxy coat has cured, you could absolutely add a decal and then just re-epoxy for your tumbler. And that's all for this tutorial. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope that this is something you guys would be interested in. And remember that this can be done in many variations of spray paints, from glitter to regular paints. Just have fun with it. Let me know what you guys thought about this tutorial down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more tutorials coming soon. Remember, the most important part about working with aluminum foil, especially if you're using Mod Podge, it's critical for the dry time. Again, I think I'm going to go ahead and give the Turbo Fast Set from Counterculture DIY a try and see if that actually works better as far as the quickness in the dry time. I think that it will. So again, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, bye.